Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this upload, I'm going to share a super simple method that you can use together with the I Am the Fusion message, or on its own if you like. And if you haven't watched that upload yet, I will post a link in the description box below. What I'm aiming for with this exercise and with everything else I share is that you feel confident within yourself to test the ideas, to pull them apart and to drill down and arrive at what it is these methods and techniques are actually made of, where they come from, and how you can develop methods of your own that enable you to build your own relationship with consciousness and your own record of proof that what you are hearing or feeling or experiencing is real and meaningful and has a purpose and plan in your own life. I'm a strong advocate for the individualized relationships that subsist between man and God. Relationships that are bound to inspire confidence in oneself, which is essential. I always say that we don't need leaders and gurus to get us to where we're trying to get to. There are people like me who deliver messages, but that's it. I make no prescriptions for what you should do with the information that is between you and God. I'm not looking for followers or an audience. I am a sojourner along with you, and I do what I do because it is my mandate, but I love it as well. Ultimately, we don't want to have to use any technique or method of prayer to communicate with consciousness, who is God. And you will find that you won't have to. But until that happens, we use exercises like these, as Neville Goddard himself tells us, to aid us in establishing unity between our dual parts. That's to say, our unchanging emanations that are restored to perfection every time we are born, and these beings, we're told, are restored at the age of 20 years old. In other words, in the state of spiritual David, who we know from the Bible to be a lad of 20, or esoterically speaking, one who recognizes the Father, or one who is in perfect submission to the Father. And remember, the word perfect or love refers to freedom from the human limitation of judgment. And these emanations that we are, have the task of using our changeable outer coverings to navigate the physical world as we work towards fulfilling the work mandated to us by God. So in a nutshell, we're all working towards operating as the emanations of God for the purposes of God, which we're able to do to the degree or extent that we're able to submit our human aspects to our superior aspects of self. Remember, our dimensionally greater selves will never exert their authority. It is, as the Bible tells us, or these parts of us are, as the Bible tells us, as meek as a dove, and they require human aspect consent and willing human aspect subjugation or submission, which is probably a slightly softer word. So your dimensionally greater self will never sort of bully you or try to coerce you or force you to do its will. It needs you to consent. I won't go into why that is today, but take my word for it. What happens when we routinely give the emanations of God, our dimensionally greater selves, the authority they deserve and they need, and the consent, is that on the human side of things, life becomes almost like a game. It's just strangely pleasurable and makes so much sense. It feels a bit like, I often say, being a college student or a university student who is excelling in every course and acing every test. Certainly that's how my life feels most of the time. Well, all of the time. So let's get to the exercise. The technique here is stunningly simple, but it is immensely productive. The point of it is to further support you in gaining tangible evidence of the reality of your dimensionally greater self. And that's going to be particularly useful for those of you who are a little uncertain. And for those of you who are more secure, the exercise is another way that you can use to discipline yourself in handing over control to your dimensionally greater self in the way that I speak about. I do want to quickly mention that I personally do not have a third dimensional outlook on my human experience at all. My outlook is exclusively fourth dimensional, but it doesn't mean for a moment that I always succeed in handing over control right away. I do sometimes take a few tries. I might find myself getting worried about things for a moment. Thankfully, it doesn't last very long at all. But, just I'm saying this to say that I live a normal human existence. But what it means for me is that I am not sort of in pursuit of happiness in quite the standard way. I have a specificity to what I talk about on my channel, and I hope that's apparent, because I think people hear me talk about Neville Goddard and perhaps think that I'm going to do things in the way that others do. No, I have a very clear focus, which is the esoteric. I just deliver messages as I receive them. But like I say, I'm a normal person. I'm a married woman and all of that comes with it. I work for a living. I have bills and all of that. But ultimately, my life is tremendous. It really is. And that's because of the insights that I am given by God. And this is something we're all born with, this ability to communicate with, to hear from, and to share with others. We all have this ability. So if you haven't begun the process of living an altogether more substantive life by being fully immersed in the role of consciousness, let me persuade you to follow that example. Every resource necessary to the fulfillment of your mandate is readily available to you, and it's always visible. They're always visible when you view life through subjective vision. So I promised an exercise, and here it is. It's nice and simple, as I say. Do play with these things. Look for ways to personalize them. Push yourself in creative ways. Ask your dimensionally greater self for ways in which to make the exercise different if you like. I will say that this method is fairly standard. Okay, so what I'm saying you do in terms of the breathing and what you get back, that's standard, but you can think of creative ways that I have not covered here to make this more bespoke to your personal experience. So here's the method. Okay, so I want you to either sit down, stand up, lie down. There's no special circumstance required here. I do say that you should be alone, and you're going to need about 2 to 3 minutes of private quiet time. And then you're going to start by taking a nice deep breath in through your nose. So that breath in should last for about 4 seconds in through your nose. And then hold that breath for 4 seconds. And then breathe out for 4 seconds through your mouth. And if you have any restrictions on your breathing, I know a few of you have physical disabilities, please breathe in whichever way is comfortable, but while you're breathing, imagine that you're breathing through your nose, holding it, and then breathing out through your mouth. Okay, in the way they've just directed. Remember, this sort of work, all of this type of work is done by your dimensionally greater self. And remember, those emanations are not injured in any way. They are fully formed. So even if you are cloaked in a body that has particular limitations, your emanation is perfect. So breathe in through your nose, hold, breathe out through your mouth. And for everyone else, just do that as normal. And then you're going to repeat this 3 times. So this in, hold, and out 3 times. And then pause. And if you cannot pause, which means to become still so that you're not thinking about anything or noticing anything in particular or responding to any stimulus, say the word pause. So if you cannot freeze or hold yourself still for a moment, say the word pause and feel as though you have paused, and stay like this for up to 5 seconds. And it's important that you don't go beyond the 5-second mark so that your mind doesn't start wandering and things like that. And then you're going to start breathing again, in through your nose, hold, and out through your mouth. But this time, you're going to make sure that your eyes are open and that your physical vision is in soft focus. And you should know what I mean by that. You're not focused on anything in your physical environment particularly, but everything is sort of in a soft, gentle blur. And while you're in that soft focus, you're going to use your subjective vision to focus on the skeletal structure, at your tailbone, so your coccyx bone. That's what you're going to be looking at mentally or with your subjective vision. Your eyes must be open and in soft focus on the physical side, but on the side of consciousness, remember your body consciousness is doing this work, you're going to be focused on your coccyx. Now, if you cannot see your tailbone when you look mentally, just focus on it. So become aware of your tailbone. So this is the part of the body that experiences the most strain when you reach emotional pinnacles. So when you climax, this is the part of the body that experiences the most strain. Those bones actually separate a little bit. And for this purpose, that's going to be a generative portal. So you're going to focus on your coccyx while you're in soft focus and breathing in and then breathing out. And when you feel that you are really focused on this part of your physical human body, you're going to now think about the state you wish to be fused with. Now, in the I Am the Fusion upload, we used the state of health. If you cannot feel after a state, and I'm not going to describe that in detail now, but it's actually feeling a state being transmitted to you, ask your dimensionally greater self to transmit the state of perfect health to you. And continue breathing, and then begin to notice the response, which is going to be a sequence of quite strange or peculiar sensations at different points in your body. So it's like a tingling sensation, pins and needles, a slight popping sensation, a noticeable sensation in localized areas around your body. Now you're going to keep breathing as before, in through your nose, hold, out through your mouth, until you feel like stopping. Now, when you feel like stopping on the human side, that is the end of the transmission. So it's transmission over. When you get to the end of the transmission and you're breathing out, you're going to breathe out in a deliberate, sort of slightly exaggerated way. So you might make an R sound, but make sure you feel that last exhale. Okay, and then revive yourself. You can move your arms and legs, blink, move your mouth, whatever it might be, to feel that you've properly reacclimatized. And then that's it. You continue with your day or whatever it is you're doing if you're about to go to sleep. Now, it's going to be the case that your human mind will begin to demand answers, but remember, it is your servant, so it's entirely up to you how much information you choose to give it. But your dimensionally greater being knows exactly what has happened, and all you are required to do is to enjoy the fruits of the state that you have now populated. You do not need to do anything else. People often ask me, what should I do? How many times should I do it? Take control. It's entirely up to you. But you will begin to feel the effects, the benefits, the results of doing this exercise. You do not have to take any special step. As for how often, that is entirely up to you. You may find that you enjoy the sensation so much you want to do it again. I wouldn't recommend you doing it immediately after. Wait at least 30 minutes, preferably wait until the next day. Now, that's all you need to do. As I say, the technique is very, very simple. Now, if you want to know what the significance of the coccyx is in this exercise, ask your dimensionally greater self and you will be told. You may be led to something in Neville's writings, you may hear someone talking about it, whatever it might be, you will be told. But get used to asking your dimensionally greater self for the information you are looking for, rather than seeking it from some external source. If it has to come from someone on the outside, it will come to you in a natural way that you don't have to do anything about. But do feel confident to ask yourself what the significance of using your human body in this way for the purpose I've just described. So there it is, the super simple technique. It is immensely productive. Please enjoy it, have fun using it, and feel free to share your experiences in the comment section below this video. I absolutely love hearing from you, and I do try my best to answer and respond as much as possible. Ask any questions, keep those questions short please, and we might have to take the conversation over to the community section of the YouTube channel. But until we are together again, stay phenomenally you.